Hi everyone, welcome to another video. The next set of videos will be dedicated to writing and more specifically on how to write a good research paper. Today we're going to do part 1 of this lesson. Let's take a look at the learning objectives for today. We will learn about types of academic research paper, general structure of the research paper. We will analyze different examples of definition writing and argumentative writing. We're going to look at the thesis statements and hooks as well. So what is an academic research paper? A research paper is a piece of academic writing that provides analysis, interpretation, and argument based on in-depth, independent research. You may be familiar with the term academic essay. Research papers are very similar to academic essay. The difference are that they are longer and more detailed. They demonstrate in-depth knowledge of the topic. Cite variety of sources. Normally in academic writing, you would cite 1 or 2 pieces of evidence per paragraph. In the research paper, it can be as many as you like, but on average, 3 to 4 pieces of evidence per paragraph. And finally, you would demonstrate your research input. There are several types of research papers. Let's take a look at them. Number 1, analytical research paper, argumentative paper, definition paper. There also are compare and contrast, interpretative paper, survey paper, experimental paper. So as you can see, I have highlighted the first 3 types of research papers, and we're going to be closely working with argumentative research paper and the definition paper. Definition paper falls under umbrella of explanatory or exploratory writing. So definition paper, compare and contrast, interpretative, survey, and experimental, they would be similar in the structure and similar in the purpose because they all explain the topic or explore different viewpoints in the topic. And of course, some of them would be more applicable depending on the subject that you're studying. So if you're studying medicine or physics, you would probably work more with survey or experimental essay. So definition paper is one of the most widely spread. The definition paper solely describes facts or objectives, arguments without using any personal emotion or opinion of the author. Its only purpose is to provide information. Remember, you should not provide your personal opinion about the issue. You should include facts from a variety of sources, but leave those facts unanalyzed. For example, let's imagine that we have a topic to describe the perestroika period in the USSR. So if you're writing definition paper, you will only explain what is perestroika, and you will cite sources that show main characteristics of that historical period. Another widely spread type of paper is argumentative or persuasive research. Let's take a look at the definition. The argumentative paper presents 2 sides of a controversial issue in one paper. It is aimed at getting the reader on the side of your viewpoint. You should include inside findings and arguments of different researchers on both sides of the issue, but then favor one side over the other and try to persuade the reader of your own side. Use logical facts and data to support your opinion and convince the reader. So remember, I have highlighted the most important parts of an argumentative paper. You look at the two sides of controversial issue. You need to take a side and express your point of view, and then you need to try to persuade your audience that your side is correct, and you base that persuasion on the logical facts and data that you will cite in your paper. Example of a topic that is very controversial and very commonly described in argumentative writing: abortions. Are you pro-choice or pro-life? So if we're using the topic of abortions, we need to decide what is your position for or against. Are you for abortions or against them? You will find sources that support both sides. You will use expert opinions and most credible sources. And then finally, I think I forgot to mention here, you also need to convince the reader that your side is that they should take it as well, right? So we're going to use these two examples of abortions and perestroika in our next slides. So please keep in mind that today in the video, we're talking about two topics: definition essay, perestroika, and argumentative essay, abortions. I do want to touch base on the definition of analytical research paper, and you will see why. So the definition of analytical research paper: you pose a question and then collect relevant data from one researcher, from other researchers to analyze their different viewpoints. You focus on the findings and conclusions of other researchers and then make a personal conclusion about the topic. It is important to stay neutral and not to show your negative or positive position on the matter. So if you take a careful attention to the highlighted and parts of this definition, you will notice that there are similarities both with the definition essay, that you're looking at different viewpoints, and argumentative writing. Basically, you're looking at different viewpoints, and at the same time, similar to definition, right? You're staying neutral and you only explaining different viewpoints on the matter. So it is similar to definition and argumentative papers, and I think after we analyze both of them, you will have a clear idea on how to combine that knowledge in the analytical research paper. All of the research papers are quite easy in the sense that they all have the same or similar structure, the skeleton, that you build your writing on. So normally when we write a research paper, we would start with an abstract. Please look up the definition and examples online. In this video, I will not explain anything about the abstract writing. Next, it includes introduction, body paragraphs. There may be body paragraph 1, 2, 3, and as many as you like. Depending on the assignment, maybe your teacher told you to write a 10-page paper, then you just add more and more body paragraphs. Or maybe he only asks you to write a 2-page paper. That means you can limit yourself to at least 2 body paragraphs. And finally, conclusion. We also include reference page for our research paper. Anytime you cite evidence, you should already know that you have to list the sources in the reference page in alphabetical order. And again, for the purpose of this video, I will not cover how to write the reference page. It has more to do with the types of styles, writing styles that you use. APA style or MLA style or Chicago style. So you can just look it up online and see different templates and examples on how to write reference page. We, of course, should just know, just remind ourselves that reference page should always be there, and it should be always at the end of your writing, after all the body paragraphs and after the whole text, right? Okay, now let's move on to general essay research paper terms. There will be several terms that I will repeatedly bring up throughout different types of writing, and that's why you may not be familiar with them. First term is hook, background information. Second, thesis statement. Body paragraph terms include claim or topic sentence, evidence, citations, same thing, reasoning sentences. And I just covered up my side note, but it says here that depending on the teacher, the terms might be different. They may be named differently, so please keep that in mind. And those are the terms that I use, but the meaning of them is always the same. Okay. Maybe I should hide this now. Now let's talk about hook and background information of your paper. Hook is a set of sentences that catch readers' attention to get them interested in the topic. Always start your essay or research paper with a hook. It should appear at the beginning of your introduction paragraph. So background information is the most common hook for a research paper because it is more formal, but there are hooks that may be more informal and more eye-catching. So let's take a look at background information. You may write down a dictionary definition about the topic. You may use exciting statistical data, or you may start with a word, with a sentence as, "Did you know that?" and then describe a fun fact about the issue. So let's take a look at examples of hooks for different types of writing. If we are writing a research paper about perestroika, here is the hook that you may start it with. According to the Oxford Dictionary, perestroika in the former Soviet Union is a policy of or practice of restructuring or reforming the economic and political system. First proposed by Leonid Brezhnev in 1979 and actively promoted by Mikhail Gorbachev, perestroika originally referred to increased automation in labor efficiency, but came to entail greater awareness of economic markets and the ending of the central planning. So, as you can see, we are citing the definition from the Oxford Dictionary. We're giving a specific date and names of people that played an important part during that period. Let's take a look at our topic of abortions. Here's an example of hook that we can use. Did you know that 30% of American women will have an abortion by age 45? According to Guttmacher Institute, a leading Sexual and Reproductive Health Research and Policy Organization. Okay, should have put a question mark here. If you think you don't know anyone who had one, you might, but they may not have told you. Since it is a controversial issue, we have to use a more interesting fact about abortions, and at the same time, since it is a sensitive topic, we want to emphasize how it can be personal to some people, right? In this last sentence, you may know somebody, but the matter is that those people don't tell you about it. Now, thesis statement. Let's analyze the definition of thesis statement. It is a short statement, usually one sentence long, that summarizes the main point or claim of an essay, research paper, and so on. It is developed, supported, and explained in the text by means of examples and evidence. So keep in mind, it is usually one sentence long. When you write your thesis statement, you state your topic clearly, state your main idea about the topic, give a reason that supports your main idea, give another reason that supports your main idea, and give one more reason that supports your main idea. And again, it depends on the structure. If you're writing a short paper, you may only have one or two reasons. If it's a longer paper, you may describe several, 3 or more. And finally, you will include an opposing viewpoint to your main idea, if applicable. If you're writing an controversial topic, essay, and you have different viewpoints, different argumentations, then you have to describe an opposite viewpoint. So, argumentative research paper, thesis statement, example. Remember, we're talking about abortions. Here is a one-sentence thesis statement. Let's read it together. Abortion should remain a legal option for women because the government has no right to interfere with a woman's body. Illegal abortions result in far more fatalities. Many unwanted pregnancies result in economic deprivation and an ongoing cycle of poverty and despair. But most importantly, there is no conclusive evidence or argument that a fetus is equal to a human being and therefore has equal rights. I have highlighted 3 different sections of our thesis statement. The yellow highlight shows your personal opinion on the matter. You are showing that abortions should stay legal. You are pro-choice, right? The green highlight shows some pieces of evidence that will later on be discussed in your body paragraphs, as well as the blue highlight, right? Okay, now an example of thesis statement for definition essay. As you can see, it is much shorter normally because you do not show your personal opinion about the matter. Perestroika is an important period in the history of USSR because it brought much needed change for the society and Soviet economy. It allowed to move from repressive Soviet regime and open up freedom of speech and new economic opportunities. Author describes here very shortly. He describes what is perestroika. So we kind of giving a somewhat our explanation of how we understand it, right? Perestroika is an important period. And also, author mentions main characteristics in green and blue that he will develop into separate body paragraphs. Okay, so in one of my body paragraphs, I will talk about freedom of speech and how it developed during perestroika. And in the blue, I will talk about a separate body paragraph. In a separate body paragraph, I would talk about new economic opportunities that perestroika has brought during this time. Okay, so there are a few more terms that I want to cover in this video. Later on, we're going to be using them quite often. Claim or topic sentence. A topic sentence or claim begins each body paragraph with a point in support of the larger thesis. When you write your claim, you need to state it clearly, support with evidence, and explain evidence with reasoning sentences. Let's take a look at evidence and reasoning. The definition of evidence is it is available body of facts or information indicating whether a belief or proposition is true or valid. You need to always include quotes or citation when you writing your evidence. Quote may be direct, use quotation marks, or indirect. When you write an indirect quotation, you usually paraphrase, but still you have to name the source that you are paraphrasing from. Reasoning sentences show that what you think about the evidence and how you understand it. It is your explanation. So word reasoning is another word for explaining. Reasoning sentences should appear after citation. It may include one or more sentences. So when you use your evidence, you show that you found valid facts, valid data to describe or support your point of view. Reasoning sentences express your understanding and connect evidence, reasoning in one body paragraph, right? First we write evidence, next we support it with reasoning. Okay, so that would conclude our video for today. In the next video, we will explore how to construct a research paper outline and analyze the structure and examples of different body paragraphs. And again, we are mainly focusing on argumentative research paper and definition type of writing. I will probably use the same examples of perestroika and abortions. So please tune in for the next video. Have a good day. Bye.